The nurses had walked out of a meeting with the representatives of the Council of Governors, but we understand they're back. And the CS for Health, Cleopa Mailu, is also in attendance. Let's just cross over there live and listen to what is being said. Currently speaking is Kisii County Governor Chris Ongwae.
Thank you. I thank everybody for this day. I confirm what has been indicated. The only additional thing I want to add is that what we are going to undertake today, the recognition agreement is going to structure our labor relations and in the way that we operate going forward, because as county governors, we are all committed to ensuring that health services in this country are the best that should be. And so I also stand here, Mr. Chairman, to tell you that the work you gave me, that my work appears to have ended. It has ended today. It will start sometime in January. And Seth, I'm sure that this time we are going to have very good negotiations. Thank you very much, everybody. Be blessed.
Give Governor Ongwae a big applause. He has spent very many hours in those teams from morning to evening trying to bring a rapprochement to bring this industrial action to an end. I now want to call the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Health, Dr. Mailu, who has also put a lot of effort in this endeavor, for him also to address the gathering. And I want to give him an applause as he comes to address this meeting.
Well, the Chairman of the Council of Governors, Your Excellency Governor Munya, members of the Council of Governors who are here today, the leadership of the Kenya National Union of Nurses, under the Chairman, Mr. B, and Secretary General, Mr. Panyako, leadership of the counties which has come today, and other guests who are invited today. Of course, what we are witnessing here is a very good occasion, which we are doing under a very bad cloud of our Kenyans not receiving services. And therefore, it is both a joy and a sad moment. But we intend to focus on the good side so that we take this process forward. I want to thank all the parties who participated tirelessly in negotiations from morning to evening to the night, and members of the press who are giving press conferences at 9 and 10. I want to single especially from the county side, the Governor Ongwae, Governor Jack Ranguma, and more importantly, the chairman who sat with us for 2 consecutive days, from morning to 10 o'clock. I want also to thank the members of the negotiating team from the Kenya National Union of Nurses, who patiently, for those 7 days, sat and negotiated without fatigue. I'm glad we reached an agreement, and today we are cementing that on behalf of Kenyans who are suffering. I want to say that the process which we have described in the document which has been signed by the leadership of the union, county governments, and myself, that process we shall adhere to, and based on what I've seen, we shall be able to conclude discussions as expected. I want to believe, as Governor Munya said, industrial harmony is what we need in our health sector. We want to operate within the law, and we want to operate with a spirit of empathy which we were taught. I always say the nurse is the advocate of the patient. I always say a patient is admitted in hospital and remains with the nurse when all of us doctors prescribe and we go home. So the issue of nurses is very key to the improvement of health services in our country, and therefore it pains us to see a nurse on strike. I hope this will be the last one we see, because as we negotiate the collective bargaining agreement, it will go for 4 years, and therefore Kenyans will be assured of services. In negotiations, people differ, agree, and therefore if we pained anybody, we ask for forgiveness as we move forward. And therefore, mine is really to thank all of us for what we have done, and ask our nurses when they go back, they serve with dedication, knowing that their employer, be county or the national government, and indeed in the entire sector, your plight is being looked at. I want to thank the leadership because we have consistently addressed these issues to be where we are. Since I'm on the podium, I wouldn't forget to urge the doctors who are on strike, as I said earlier, to come back to the negotiating table. The issues we have will not be addressed in the manner in which we are trying to address them. Kenyans are paining, Kenyans are suffering. At the end of what we do, even if we agree, we would have lost lives. And therefore, I ask them to cushion their excesses with the resilience, to be able to humble themselves and ourselves, to come to the negotiating table to get a solution to our problem. And therefore, mine is to ask them, instead of escalating the strike, just to come and within a few days, we hear them, we explore every possibility to make sure they continue to serve Kenyans. Yes, health profession is very important, but equally so, we should exercise restraint in the actions we take. Mine is to say we are open to discussions. There are negotiations being led by the Ministry of Labor, but that doesn't preclude employer and employee sitting together and coming up with a solution. We have come up with a solution with the nurses under the cloud of court. We can still be able to do so. So I thank you and believe that nurses will provide care to our people. And as I said, it's a day of joy, but under a heavy cloud of what is happening across our country. I thank you and wish you well.
Give Dr. Mailu further applause. I also want to join in communicating what the governors decided when we were in the meeting. We are calling upon the doctors to drop the grandstanding and the intransigence with which they have handled this matter so far, because we called them for negotiations and they walked out on us and they have never come back. We would like them to appreciate that the interests of the general public are as important as the interests of the individual. The rights of the suffering public of Kenya is equally important. So even as we look into their grievances, we need to appreciate the larger interest of the general public that is not accessing medical care at this particular point. And as we go into the Christmas festivities, the situation is going to be even worse. So we want to appeal to the doctors to appreciate this concern and in the spirit of collective humanity, call off the strike as directed by the courts. We would like to also clearly point out that the court has said the strike is illegal. the processes that are supposed to be followed when you are calling up a strike has not been followed, and therefore they have been told by the courts to obey the court order and call off the strike and then create the atmosphere required for negotiations. Therefore, that is what we are asking them to do. And given the fact that the strike is illegal, county governments are free, not tied to take any precipitate action if somebody refuses to obey the court order as directed. But we don't want to get there. We would like them to obey the court order and call off the strike. There is nobody who is bigger than the Republic of Kenya. There is nobody who is bigger than the constitution that is governing the country, that governs every one of us, big or small. And therefore, when we are called upon to respect the law and the rule of law, every one of us is required to do so. If you are asking for certain grievances to be addressed within the law, those grievances cannot be addressed if you also continue breaking the same law with which you are trying to give yourself an umbrella. So we need all to respect the law, and I think time has come, therefore, for our doctors, whom we respect a lot, to call off the strike, come to the negotiating table, we sit down and resolve these issues. I don't think they are impossible to resolve. They can be resolved. Therefore, I think at this juncture, I want to thank everybody for coming, and then we want to go now into the ceremony of signing the recognition agreement. And I want to call upon the Council of Governors CEO, Jackie Mogeni, to come and guide us on that ceremony, and this will be the last thing we will do, and then we'll be able to close this meeting. And as the minister said, I don't think we are in any mood for celebrations. We are not. So what we will do is we are doing all this with a very, very, very heavy heart. But it is a duty that we must do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the CS, governors present, deputy governors, and the members of the Union, County Public Service Board chairs, county secretaries, and the secretaries of the County Public Service Boards. Now, at this moment, I would like us to be guided on how we are going to do the signing ceremony. We'll ask the chairs of the County Public Service Board, county secretaries, the secretaries of the County Public Service Board, the SG of the Kenya National Union of Nurses, and the chair to kindly come to the podium. Counties are going to sign 333 so that the process can move faster, because we've kept quite a number of people here. For the counties that are not here, because some had to go, they had planes to catch. There is absolutely nothing we can do, but the representatives who are here will sign their part, the union will sign their part, and then the ones who had left, if it's a chair or a secretary, we will hold the agreements, then they have to come and sign so that we can be able to deposit. Because we need one copy will go to the Kenya National Union of Nurses, and one copy will go to the county government, and another copy will go to the Council of Governors. So that is the order we are going to use. So we'll prioritize the counties that are already here. So I'd like to ask the chair of the County Public Service Board of Homa Bay, Busia, and Nyandarua to kindly come to the podium so that you can be guided where to sit, and then you begin to sign, and the Secretary General and the Chair of Kenya National Union of Nurses. The Secretary General and the Kenya National Union of Nurses, you will stay there because the other counties will be moving in and out like a conveyor belt. So kindly, the counties I've mentioned, please come to the table. You will be guided by my colleagues where you have to sit exactly. Please check the... Yes. We remove this and then we bring it down. Okay. Okay, kindly, we are being asked by the media to
IDs.
they want the ceremony to be done down here. Yes.
ID ni wrong.
No.
allow us to just move on.
All right, finally, it seems like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that we see an end to the industrial action by nurses across the country that has paralyzed operations in a number of public hospitals across the country. Currently, the officials from the nurses unions, led by, we can see the Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Nurses, Seth Panyako, signing the recognition agreement together with the members or representatives from the county governments that will end the stalemate that has been running for about 2 weeks now. And this particular signing of the recognition agreement will see an end to the industrial action by the nurses. And of course, from the talks that have been there, is that they have agreed to begin talks on the collective bargaining agreement that the nurses have been demanding that it be implemented in January next year. For now, all that is being done is the signing of the recognition agreement that will see the nurses go back to work after about 2 weeks of paralyzing operations in public hospitals in the country. Remember, earlier this was supposed to happen, but the nurses walked out of that particular meeting accusing representatives from the Council of Governors or from the county governments of negotiating in bad faith and playing cat and mouse games with them. They were also demanding that officials from the Ministry of Health, led by the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Cleopa Mailu, should be present in the signing of the recognition agreement. Earlier on, there was no representation from the Ministry of Health, hence the reason why officials from the Union of Nurses walked out of that particular meeting, headed straight to the Ministry of Health to seek audience with the CS for Health, Cleopa Mailu, who came back with them to the Council of Governors meeting to intervene. And it looks like it actually did bear fruit, and they're currently signing the recognition agreement with members from those representing, beg your pardon, the Council of Governors and all the 47 counties in the country. So we should expect the nurses to go back to work after downing their tools for more than a week. This was the second week, almost heading to the end of it. But remember, doctors have remained put. They say they will continue with their strike. Consultants have joined them in the strike. They have withdrawn their services from large hospitals like the Kenyatta National Hospitals. Doctors are currently demanding that the health workers that have been put in place in Kenya's largest referral hospital, which is the Kenyatta National Hospital, to be withdrawn. They are demanding that the government withdraws all the cases it has placed against the Union of Doctors in court. Remember, the Employment and Labour Court yesterday declared the strike by the doctors as illegal and ordered them back to work, but they have remained adamant that they will not go back to work. But even as doctors remain put, say they will not go back to work until the implementation of the collective bargaining agreement, nurses seem to have softened up their stance and have agreed to sign the recognition agreement. What you're seeing on the screen right now is that process as they sign the recognition agreement, led by their Secretary General there, Seth Panyako, who was one of the most vocal officials who had refused to sign anything from the word go. Remember, just a day or two ago, the chairperson and the Deputy Secretary General had signed the collective bargaining agreements. So we had a part of the nurses union going back to work and a part led by Seth Panyako, who is the Secretary General, remaining adamant that they will not go back to work. So confusion marred this particular process, where nurses were left to think whether they should go back to work or not. But it seems that the nurses unions have put their house in order now and have agreed to sign the recognition agreement that will put an end to the stalemate that has been witnessed for about 2 weeks now and has paralyzed operations in public hospitals across the country. More than 20 people have died because of this particular strike by the nurses and doctors. But we expect to see nurses going back to work. They have been promised and they have agreed that talks on the collective bargaining agreement will begin in January next year, in 2017, which is pretty much about 2 or 3 weeks from now. So this is a story we will definitely be following up on even as we get into the new year in about 2 weeks' time. Currently, if you're just joining us, what you're seeing in your screen is that nurses are signing the recognition agreement with the county governments that is set to end the stalemate that has been for about 2 weeks now. Nurses had down their tools across the country, accusing the government and the county governments, both the national government and the county governments, of not cooperating and not listening to them as they seek to have the collective bargaining agreement implemented as we get into a new year. Among the demands is their salaries to be harmonized from the different job groups that are there, and a 300% increase of their salaries from what they are earning currently. So nurses have a deal now with the county government and the Ministry of Health, of course the central government, and they are expected to go back to work as the strike is about to be declared over. What you're seeing on your screen is Secretary General Seth Panyako, Ministry of Health or Health Cabinet Secretary Cleopa Mailu, and other representatives from the county government. They are exchanging the recognition agreements that they have signed that will see the end to the stalemate. Remember, earlier on, the nurses had walked out of the meeting accusing governors and their representatives of negotiating in bad faith. They headed to the Ministry of Health to seek an audience with Health CS Cleopa Mailu, who intervened, got them back to Westlands, which is the headquarters of the county governments or the Council of Governors, and they are currently exchanging the recognition agreements that they have